What's up, dudes? My name is Nick. Welcome back to a news video where we're going to talk a little bit about SuperM. And it's a really interesting thing. I'll just say that. We could probably, for someone who actually knew what they were talking about in terms of like the music industry and, who writes music and music videos and stuff like that, they could probably talk about this super in depth. But I'm not that trained. And I'm also like really late to the whole party with this, but SuperM is so intriguing and it kind of caused a little bit of an uproar that I just need to share my opinion on this. So that's what we're going to do. But first off, let's talk a little bit about the fan reaction to the announcement and the release of this group, or just the revelation of this group. And it's, I guess, predictable, although, from my own personal perspective, as, a person who likes and enjoys the, K-pop music the way that I do, I think it's a little weird and a little ridiculous from the fans, but perfectly understandable if I look at it from the lens of somebody who's a hardcore fan who like lives and breathes some of the groups that members in this group in SuperM are a part of. And of course, if you don't know, they've actually got 3 members from older generation idols, male idols within SM Entertainment, with Taemin from SHINee, and then Baekhyun and Kai from EXO. And then you've also got Taeyong and Mark from NCT, one of the NCT units, and then Lucas and Ten, who are from WayV, who are the Chinese NCT group, where the whole NCT project that SM has got. WayV's the Chinese group. And so when I saw that this was actually the thing, I was like, wow, that's actually kind of cool. SM Entertainment, they're teaming up with Capitol Music Group, which is big time, Capitol Records and all that sort of stuff. Like they've got a pretty extensive history in the US entertainment industry or music industry. So those are two, powerhouse companies from their respective music industries getting together to put together this group. So, that's definitely a very intriguing thing. And definitely, like I said, the idea is intriguing, but fans were not happy about it at all. In fact, they actually, I think, if I'm remembering what the hashtag was correctly, they ended up, I saw that the hashtag was it super or canceled, super group canceled or something like that, about, basically canceling SuperM before they even released anything. And lots of people were very sort of offended and concerned to varying degrees. Of course, fans of EXO and SHINee were sort of offended because, like, these guys are veterans of K-pop. They've been around for a very long time, and you're just going to re-debut them in a group specifically aimed at the US market. Like, fans were a little offended because of that. And then another facet of that is like, I specifically saw a couple XOLs on Twitter who were saying like, maybe, SM should have invested in EXO to promote them a little bit more so that they could actually be, the BTS like group for SM Entertainment in the United States, so that EXO could be the popular group in the US versus, SM having to basically start their own group of their own group specifically targeted to the United States. And then, on a little smaller degree, NCT fans and WayV fans were kind of concerned a little bit about how their members' involvement in this group is going to affect their promotion. Specifically, a lot of people were talking about WayV because they're Chinese, and there's some, dynamic about that's got people a little sort of like scratching their head and, worried about that for some reason. And all of that stuff, as fans of those individual groups, I can definitely understand that, but I'm not really a super big fan. Like, I don't stan any of those groups, so to speak. So I'm not really super crazy into that. But like I said, fan reaction, definitely a little off the rails, definitely, I think, a little unhinged, but for serious fans of anything perfectly sort of predictable. And it really isn't the way that you want to start anything that is actually supposed to be like a big project. Like, I assume that SuperM is like a big deal for SM Entertainment and Capitol Music or Capitol Records. It's a big deal. So pissing off your core fans who are, who you need probably to support this group for it to be a big success isn't really the best way to start. Isn't really the best way to do it. But they upset the hardcore fans, and that's just the way that it is. But, considering how hardcore K-pop fans are, I think they're probably gonna, some of those people who are outraged on day one are probably gonna go and support the group anyway, because, there's the whole sort of idea in K-pop where, fans support their groups and their biases no matter what. Like, even if they release a song that they don't like, then they have to, support that and buy that album, even if they think it's a bad song or the song that they released is a dud. So, that's really that. I don't think that. Oh, and then also too, another thing too was there was also sort of a little bit of there were question marks surrounding whether or not SuperM was going to be a group solely based in the United States, where they're going to release the music in the US and they're going to promote the music in the US, and then that's going to be it. Like, they're not going to take the show all back to Korea or wherever else. Like, it's a show, it's a group and an album or music specifically targeted for people like me, American citizens, and Koreans just aren't going to play a factor in that, which I think if they did that, that would be a misstep, because the reason that a lot of K-pop groups are even really gaining any sort of traction in the United States to begin with, before things started snowballing, getting really big, was because they had dedicated fans, not necessarily maybe in Korea, although Korean fans definitely play a factor in that, but just K-pop fans in general, whether they're in the United States or elsewhere in the world, they're the people who buy your music, give you credibility, and give you a little bit of extra power, right? And kind of make people pay attention to you. Like NCT 127, if they didn't have a strong fan base in Korea and internationally, wouldn't necessarily be getting the attention that they're getting in the United States for, their media play and getting nominated for awards and stuff like that. That wouldn't happen. And that's a fact. So if SM and Capital Music Group are just going to ignore international K-pop fans or Korean K-pop fans specifically, then they're probably going to feel a little, hard done. And just both of those companies kind of spat in their face, which, to be honest, it would be the way that it goes. You take popular idols from their favorite groups and then debut them in a group in the United States that you're not going to see any activities or promos for, whatever. You're just going to have to enjoy that from afar. That's definitely not the way that they should do things. So hopefully they don't do that. I don't think they will, but fingers crossed that everything, works out like that. But the bottom line for me is I'm just really interested to see how this works out, because as we all know, companies specifically targeting the United States and putting all of their eggs in that basket has not worked out very well in the past. And, I think that it really comes down to, I think even, with the Wonder Girls specifically being the group that recently comes to mind, or most vividly comes to mind. I think JYP even said that the reason for that really was just a lack of an understanding of how things work or what they needed to do or anything like that. So they just kind of thought that, K-pop's really, popular. And so then we can just do K-pop things in the United States and they're going to love it. Kind of like people just go well, BTS, they're killing it. So we can clearly just go into the United States and release an English album or do K-pop things aimed at English speaking people, and they're going to eat it up. It's not necessarily true. So, hopefully they don't make those mistakes. But of course, considering the fact that SM is also partnering with Capital Music Group, clearly they've got somebody on board that has the idea of what it takes, what they need to do, what people like here in this country, and so they can kind of provide that input, or they're going to provide that input and give that guidance that SM just doesn't necessarily have that from a grasp on necessarily. So that will definitely be something that is good. Like I said, where that's something that kind of makes me a little bit more optimistic that it's going to actually succeed compared to the past. And so, like I said, I'm kind of curious, or like I said, sort of previously, going back to what people have said about their concerns on whether or not this is going to be, America only, or if it's also going to incorporate promotions in Korea or whatever. I'm kind of just really interested to see what the end product is. If it's going to be an English only song, it probably is going to be an English only song. If they're promoting only in the United States, or whatever it is that they try to do stylistically with the song, I'm kind of interested to see, when I listen to it, if it feels different from a K-pop song, which at this point in time in 2019, I don't think that it's going to be something drastically different. But I think, music video wise and group dynamic wise, it might be a little bit, foreign to a K-pop fan, so to speak. So, it's a super interesting project. I think SuperM has the potential to be something really relatively big. It could be a really big success for SM, but it also has definitely the potential to be a big time major flop that's going to go down in the history of K-pop trying to make it in the United States and failing, because I think trying to do something isn't really the best. Trying to make something happen in the music industry or an entertainment industry isn't really like the thing. A lot of people say BTS just grew to be where they're at because, well, they weren't really trying to be big in the United States. They were just being BTS, K-pop and their own unique personality and that kind of stuff. So maybe, the manufactured image and persona and all that stuff that SuperM might have isn't really gonna resonate very much with music fans in the United States. But maybe it does, because again, we like a lot of manufactured music too. So, or a lot of manufactured personas and personalities in our music too. So, I don't know, maybe somebody just got to get over the language barrier, I think is really what it kind of comes down to. So, that's what I think. I don't know if it'll work. I kind of hope it does, but if it doesn't, I'm not going to be too disappointed about it. But my question for you is just, what are your general thoughts? Are you going to support the group? Have you already pre-ordered the albums? Because, they're going to release this in the next couple of weeks, the beginning of next month. Whatever you think, let me know in the comments below. I'd be definitely very interested to hear your thoughts. So that's it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. If you want more videos like this, or you think that there's something interesting that I might enjoy talking about, or you want to hear my opinion on, send it to me, through Twitter mostly, because that's really the one social media that I'm super active on and is the way that you're guaranteed to not get links filtered like YouTube. But that's going to be it. So thanks everyone for watching, and I will see you all next time.